Good evening, everyone. We are going to call this meeting to order. This is the board meeting of February the 18th. This is our recess meeting. We will stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by an invocation with Alderman Vaughn and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done. Most holy, all wise, all knowing, all powerful, all seeing, all hearing, all understanding God. Again, Father, here's a few of your handmaid servants that you allowed to be seen over the affairs of this city. Again, we thank you for the mayor of the board, and we thank you for all the department heads and all the city employees that you allow us to reside over. We thank you. We thank you for what all you have allowed us to achieve, Father God, right now, and we thank you for what you're going to allow us to achieve, if we ever stay so close to you. We ask you that you will please forgive us of all our sins, that's known and unknown, seen and unseen, and blot out our transgression. We ask you that you will come bless us to conduct ourselves decent and order. But Father God, that every decision we make will glorify you. Father God, in the name of Jesus, we thank you for being who you are and where you are. Thank you for being our God and we your servants, being our Father and we your little children. Thank you so much for controlling our destiny, not leaving us in the hand of no man. We give all honor and praise and glory to you at the end of the night. We thank you for just being here with us. Oh, Father, in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen.
Thank you, everyone. We appreciate everyone braving the weather, coming out in the rain and being with us. Our first item of business is going to be approval of the agenda, including consented items. Do we have any changes to? Oh, well, we do have a change to the agenda. And again, I apologize to you because we had a holiday yesterday. We were unable to get this additional item on the agenda at the time, but we had RFPs that were analyzed on Friday. And so in front of you, you have the recommendations of the committee for the build grant RFPs, and we tallied them up. There should be a tally sheet at the back of your sheet there somewhere. I think it's there. It's on the front sheet. I'm sorry. Okay, never mind. It's on the front sheet. And so we had 4 submissions: Allen and Hoschel, Farmer Morgan, Kimley Horn, and Neil Schaefer. And as you can see, Kimley Horn and Neil Schaefer were very close together on their submission and the quality of their submission. And so that's in front of you, and it is with my apologies that we do so at a late date. I know that it never makes anyone happy to have something that's a surprise at the beginning of the day. But the reason we're doing this is because it is a tight timeline, and we are trying to get the project going. So it's just the long and short of it. Alderman Carver, I saw your hand.
I was just going to ask on the submission, a 371 between that and a 366.5. I mean, is that exceptionally?
They were both very good. They were both very good presentations.
Okay. I may just have questions on that later.
Okay. Anyway, if we could add that to the agenda under board business, be item 6, I guess. I'm sorry.
Object.
No, I didn't say add. You object it being added to the agenda at all?
Oh, I thought you were talking about putting it on
consent.
consent.
No, sir. I wasn't going to put it on consent,
Okay.
just to the agenda.
All right.
Any objections to be placed on the agenda? All right, thank you. We'll put it down as item 6 on the agenda. All right. With that being said, anything further, consent items or any changes to the agenda as it's presented?
Mayor, can we take out
Alderman Beatty.
Excuse me. Can we take out item 2 and talk about that just a little bit?
Item which?
Item 2, the
Item 2.
intent to issue the GO bonds.
The 30,
Yes,
the 3 million.
just-
Okay, just take that one, remove that one from consent. Okay. All right. Anything else? Alderman Beatty, anything else? Vice Mayor, I see your hand.
Yes, ma'am. Mayor, on the board business, Roman numeral 10 on page 3, I'd like you to remove items 3 and 4 from the consent, please.
Okay. The two, okay, so the interlocal cooperation agreement and then the general obligation bonds, both of those?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, removed from consent. You're saving me having to do a lot of reading. Thank you. All right, anything else, Vice Mayor?
Oh, that's all, Mayor. Thank you.
All right. Anything further? Anyone else further? All right, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion for approval of the official agenda with the consented items as revised.
Say move.
I have a motion from Alderman Carver. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Alderman Little. Further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. All right, with that, I'll read the consented agenda items. First is under approval of the Board of Aldermen minutes. We have consideration of the minutes of the January 21, 2020 recess meeting of the Mayor and Board of Aldermen of the City of Starkville. Consideration of the minutes of the January 22, 2020 work session of the Mayor and Board of Aldermen of the City of Starkville. Consideration of the minutes of the January 31, 2020 work session of the Mayor and Board of Aldermen of the City of Starkville. Under Mayor's business, we have consideration of a special warranty deed from the City of Starkville, Mississippi, to the State of Mississippi to preserve access to the Cornerstone Park site for the Mississippi Department of Public Safety and release of roadway easement from the State of Mississippi to the City of Starkville, Mississippi to extinguish the easement that traversed the property and that was previously reported in Deed Book 2013, page 7091 of the Oktibbeha County Land Records. Under Board Business, we have consideration to advertise to fill a vacancy for the Starkville-Oktibbeha Consolidated School District Board of Trustees for a term ending, and if you will note, the change to that needs to be 2025. It is a 5-year term, so that should be for a term ending March 2025. Under item 5, we have resolution of the Mayor and Board of Aldermen of the City of Starkville acknowledging and approving the sale and award of electric system revenue bond series 2020 of the municipality in the principal amount of $8,500,000, and for related purposes. The successful bidder was Duncan Williams at 1.94%. Under Airport, we have request approval to enter into a lease agreement between the City of Starkville and PHI Medical LLC to provide air medical services for 3 years located in a portion of the South Hangar on George M. Bryan Field. Number 2 is request approval of Airport Director Rodney Lincoln to travel to Dobbins Air Force Reserve Base, Marietta, Georgia on February 21st and 22nd, 2020, Southeastern Council of Air Show Conference for air show training. Under Planning, we have B, consideration of Thomas Stewart as a second of 3 independent consultants for architectural review. Under Engineering, we have consideration of rejecting all bids for the SHS Bridge project and authorization to re-advertise for those bids. 2 is consideration of approval to select Garver Engineering as the construction engineering and inspection CE&I consultant for the linkage tap project using MDOT small purchase procedure, authorizing the mayor to negotiate and sign an engineering services contract and execute any necessary MDOT paperwork for this project in accordance with the MDOT Local Public Agencies LPA manual. Under Finance and Administration, item 2 is acceptance of the January 2020 financial statements. Number 3 is consideration of amending Nunc Pro Tunc item 5 of the minutes of the December 3rd, 2019 meeting of the Mayor and Board of Aldermen of the City of Starkville, Mississippi to clarify the city's holiday schedule to include President's Day. Number 4 is request approval of fiscal year 2020 budget amendments. Under Human Resources, number 1 is request authorization to hire Emma Armstrong as a part-time receptionist for the Finance and Administration Department. Number 2 is request authorization to hire Lavorius Warren as a maintenance worker for the Sanitation and Environmental Services Department. Number 3 is request authorization to hire Nick Callahan as an athletic supervisor in the Parks and Recreation Department. Under Information Technology, we have number 1, request approval of renewal agreement with Garner Computers for maintenance and consultation costs associated with the city's voice-over internet protocol, VoIP phones, and other network gear. Under Parks, we have consideration of an agreement with Pyro Shows, the lowest of 2 quotes in the amount of $8,499 to be used as the fireworks vendor for the 4th of July celebration. Number 2 is consideration to apply for a $120,000 recreational trails grant program through Mississippi Department of Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks, with $30,000 in-kind services from the City of Starkville for clearing, grading of the trail to be split between Starkville Parks and Recreation Department and City Engineering and Streets Department. Number 3 is consideration of the approval of the facility use agreement with Starkville Christian School for use of an athletic field for their softball and baseball seasons. Under Police Department, number 1 is request approval to declare a camper trailer, VIN 47CT S5P226L116611, 23 Vista blue light bars, and 15 ProGuard prisoner transport cages as surplus property and list for sale on govdeals.com in that the equipment is outdated and will not fit current or future vehicles. Number 2 is request approval to apply for a fiscal year 21 DUI grant funding with the Mississippi Office of Highway Safety in the area of DUI enforcement in the amount of $87,670 in 100% reimbursable funds in the area of salary for 2 DUI officers and overtime DUI enforcement. Number 3 is request approval to apply for the fiscal year 21 MOHS Police Traffic Services Grant, Mississippi Office of Highway Safety, in the amount of $17,000 and 100% reimbursable funds in the area of overtime and traffic enforcement dedicated to seatbelt, child restraint, and speeding enforcement. Under the Utilities Department, we have a request authorization for Summit Track Group of Tupelo, Tupelo, Mississippi, for engine repair work to be completed by an ASE certified mechanic on the electric division bucket truck number 37, not to exceed $18,000 as an emergency repair per Mississippi Code Section 31-7-13 sub K. And number 2, request authorization to accept the engineering proposal from Springer Engineering of Starkville, Mississippi for the Babylon Road CDBG Sewer Improvement Project. And that concludes the consent agenda items.
Thank you, Mayor.
My pleasure, thank you. All right, we will move next to announcements and comments, and I have the pleasure of introducing 2 new employees, and they are sitting on the front row. So we have first Elizabeth Beck. She's a police officer. She is from Prattville, Alabama. She came to Starkville to attend Mississippi State University. Elizabeth graduated from MSU in December of 2019. She is engaged to Johnny Vandiver IV. Elizabeth is looking forward to starting her law enforcement career with the city of Starkville, so we welcome Elizabeth. And then Miles Garrett. Mr. Garrett Miles. Miles, is it Garrett Miles?
Yes, ma'am.
Nav, where are you? He reversed the names on me, I'm sorry. Mr. Miles is excited to begin his career with the Starkville Police Department. He is originally from Nanawaya, Mississippi. He played many sports throughout high school and played some while attending college. Garrett comes from a long line of law enforcement officers, and it has always been his goal to continue the family tradition of obtaining a career in law enforcement. So welcome to Officer Miles. So.
I'm under the weather, so I'm not going to shake hands, but welcome aboard.
Thank you. Welcome aboard. Thank you. Congratulations, welcome.
She's shaking her hand. Keep the great work here.
All right, and aside from, I don't know of anything else to announce, so anything that anybody of the board wishes to make an announcement or comment about? Alderman Carver?
So 2 quick notes. Again, we've already talked about it, but the touch truck is April the 25th, and that's always become a highlight in this community. Kids of all ages come out and enjoy, and our city workers, sanitation workers, police, fire, and various departments, electric, utility department, they come out, and it's always a highlight of the year. So if you got time, April the 25th, I believe it's from 10 to 2. And then second today, I know it was a two-day pickup for the sanitation department, and it hit me during the middle of the day when it was just really one of those downpours, and we've got guys out there doing their best. So just always want to give a shout out to those guys and ladies at the sanitation department, Mr. Calvin. And sometimes we take for granted just when it's really, really a downpour, when we're sitting inside, just how hard their job is on days like that. So just another shout out to those guys and ladies at the sanitation department.
Thank you, Alderman Carver. All right. Now we have citizens' comments. This is an opportunity for anyone to come comment. Sounds like we might have a flood warning. Is that you, Chief? Okay. For anyone to come comment, you have 3 minutes to make comments to the board. This doesn't mean we'll be back and forth responding, but you are welcome to speak to us. So.
Hi, I'm Joshua Acker with Mayor's Youth Council. We have 2 projects coming up this weekend. This Friday, we have a breakfast for all the bus drivers in the morning at 6:30. And then this Saturday, we're going to go to the Salvation Army. And I appreciate you all for your support.
Are y'all volunteering at the Salvation Army?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you so much. And you're with the Mayor's Youth Council.
Yes, ma'am.
We appreciate you.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
One of our receivers, start with our Yellow Jacket receivers.
In an honors class, too, I might add.
Yes.
Good evening to the mayor and board. My name is Adam Tom Ward 7. To the mayor, to the police chief, to the fire chief, to the NACP President Yolanda Haddix. Pretty much for Marvell's mother, and my mother is Marvell's auntie at 90 years old, and his mother is my cousin at 87 years old, and the situation at the county lake is getting serious, and our parents at that age, just pray for them that we can get through this, and hope that there don't be any life loss, or if the supervisors don't do right, the blood will be on their hands. Also, in the coming days, Chief, I would like to, if you could, notify me of the coffee with the cop. It'll make it easy on my sister if I'm around police officers, because she very leery of me being around police officers until we can find out what happened to her baby brother. Also, to the Lake Department, we need to be very careful going to all this machinery. Machines. You have a lot of people that's not computer literate, and if they get a $400 or $500 light bill, and they have to go to a computer land, you don't want to fight to break out at the Lake Department. Because the machine, you have to have the correct change. You cannot just put the money in and get change. So I need to think about that, because springtime is coming, people attitudes going to change, and also to the police department, if you could kind of help people out with, sometimes when we have certain issues, if we know the code, like stalking or anything like that, if we could just announce the code, and then that would help us out in then trying to explain it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Turner. Anyone else wishing to speak to the board? Anyone else under citizens' comments? All right, seeing none, I'll close it as citizens' comments. We have one public appearance, and I have to get my notes here. Where'd they go? Oh, here it is. Sorry. You gonna come join us up here at the front? Public appearance? Gonna come up and where did we go? She's outside? Okay. Okay. Well, I was going to be reading, so let me start with that. Our public appearance is AT&T Legislative Banner Club First Ladies Award winner is the Controllers. Okay. There we go. There we go. Okay. Yes, ma'am. If you would come up, I'm gonna read the information out. Okay, y'all. Now's your time. AT&T Legislative Banner Club First Ladies Award winner is the Controllers Generation 2 4-H Club. The club includes 17 members and several registered voters. Gardening was the main project. The club collaborated with schools, businesses, organizations, and many others to grow gardens and great farmers market in the Maben area. Over 300 people, which included families, children, and community members alike, received fruit, vegetables from the harvest. Ms. Rose Coffey Graham is the volunteer leader. The club also received the Governor's Award. They were established in 2018. Food and nutrition are their main project areas. They enjoyed the kids in the kitchen. They tracked eating habits, prepared food recipe binders, incorporated cooking demonstrations, and food handling safety. They learned about food preparation, and they shared across the communities how to make wise decisions regarding what they eat on a daily basis. So they have asked me, oh my goodness, there are lots of y'all. There are lots of y'all. Okay, they have asked me to present these to them, so if y'all will give me just a second to come down, I will do that. Lisa, you gotta take my phone and make a picture or something.
You want me to take that?
Alderman Carter said he'd be willing to take it. He's got a pretty good angle. How about that? All right, so let's see here, we can do this, so we can get y'all. Who's gonna hold me? You gonna hold that? You wanna hold that one? How about that? You wanna hold this one? There we go. I hold that one. Okay. All righty. And then we have the volunteer Starkville Board, the volunteer organization. Who else is going to the right now? Okay. All right. Congratulations, y'all. We appreciate you being here. Can you get that one?
Yes, ma'am. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
All right. Well, thank you very much. All right, our first item on the agenda is under board business. It was removed from consent. Is the resolution of the mayor and the Board of Aldermen of the City of Starkville declaring the intention to issue general obligation bonds to for the sale of the Mississippi Development Bank, to enter into a loan agreement with Mississippi Development Bank in the maximum aggregate principal amount of $3,500,000 in one or more federally taxable and/or tax-exempt series to support the continued development of the North Star Industrial Park located near the intersection of Highway 82, Highway 389 in the city of Starkville, together with certain economic development projects located or to be located therein. This is the subject matter of which we were briefed at the work session from Mr. Higgins. Mr. Higgins called me about 30 minutes ago or so, 20 minutes ago, and said he is in between Starkville and Columbus in the pouring rain with a flat. So he is not going to be able to make it here tonight. And I told him he had given us a very good briefing at the work session, and that he would be on a phone call if we need him to do so. So do I have a motion and a second for us to do this, and then we'll go into discussion?
Move approval, Mayor.
I have a motion from Alderman Little. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Alderman Walker. All right, discussion. Anyone?
Yes.
Alderman Beatty.
Thank you, Mayor. And let me say up front, I support this resolution for the intent to issue bonds. I just thought it might be good for us to stop and just kind of discuss bonding a little bit, because we have a lot of bond debt, and we have a lot of bonds out there. And I talked with Mr. Nick Shore before the meeting, and according to him, there's a lot of capacity out there for municipal tax-free bonds particularly. But I guess I just had some general questions and comments to make. One would be, do we have enough bond redemption? General obligation bonds, and correct me if I'm wrong, are paid for through general revenue, or guaranteed by the full faith and credit of your city, paid for through general revenues from your city, which is ad valorem tax, sales tax, et cetera, things like that. There's no fees or any type of anything, any revenues generated like through enterprise funds like revenue bonds to pay for things like for general obligation bonds. I know we do, and we have people that consult us on this, but do we have enough bonds redeeming that will free up enough tax revenue for the debt repayment of these bonds?
Mayor, I can speak to that. And our bond
Mr.
counsel
Latimer,
is
and
on
our
the back
bond counsel
row.
is here. So, Mr. Latimer, go ahead.
I'll try to take that at a 30,000-foot level, and then if I miss details, Brad can jump in. But these bonds will be paid back, Alderman, by either the taxes or the fee and lieu deals that we get from entering into an economic development project recommended by the link. The city pledges full faith tax and credit to be, because it's a GO issuance. Yeah. But the way the document is written is the city will pay, because the only way the city issues the bonds is if we get a project. And the only way we get a project if it's a fee and lieu project, a $60 million project. So those fee and lieu fees pay for the bonds.
Okay.
Alderman, I'm sorry, Alderman Beatty.
No, I'm fine.
Okay, Alderman Sismont.
I just wanted to say that there is sufficient debt capacity for us to issue this if a project does make.
Is this subject to the 15%? I noticed, and I was looking, because Ms. Harden got me some information, but we've got $26 million in GO bond debt currently, which based on what is our bond capacity on $260 million and assessed value $39 million or something like that. So we're at 67% on our bond capacity right now. And I just I don't know, I just thought we ought to talk about that, and bring this up. I know that revenues, general revenues for our general fund are, I won't say flat, but our sales tax is pretty, it's like 1.5% fiscal year increase over last year. And if you go calendar years, like it was 3%, but what I saw on the paper the other day was 1.5%. And I guess just that I guess ad valorem taxes are up, $600,000-$700,000, something like that. But on a $22 million general fund budget, we're pretty much flat on that. And I guess the only comment I would make beyond that is I know that we have some TIFs out there, and they hadn't triggered yet. But those are going, correct me if I'm wrong, Alderman Sistrunk, we're collecting the money right now from these businesses on the TIFs that have not kicked in yet, right?
That's right.
And when those TIFs kick in, if they trigger and kick in, that money's going to come out of our general fund. And I know we've got a car dealership and a sporting goods store and several out there that if these things do come to fruition, we're going to have some debt service on that. And so just that we would be mindful of and cognizant of the fact that we've got a good bit of bond capacity, but we also got a good bit of bond debt right now. And that as projects come up, particularly commercial projects that are going to be asking for tax increment financing, we be careful, because some of them won't trigger and some will meet their sales projects and will trigger. And this is money that we collect up front, we get used to, we get in our general operating budget, we get to spending it, and all of a sudden we've got to pay that back, pay those TIF bonds back. So it's something I think we need to be mindful of. That's it. I just wanted to kind of, and there again, we're not issuing bonds. This is the resolution, the intent to issue bonds if we get a project. But at the same time, because there's a good bit of bonded indebtedness, that sometimes we all just stop and kind of discuss it. And I know work session is a good place to do it. And I wanted the work session Friday, but at the same time, something that we need to keep in, be aware of. So.
Absolutely, we do need to stay mindful of it. Okay. Anything further? Any other discussion? All right, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Okay, by a vote of 6-1, motion carries. All right, next item, also removed from...
approval, Mayor.
I'm sorry? Move approval. Okay, I have a motion for approval from Alderman Little. Do I have a second? Second from Alderman Walker. Was that you? Okay. And this is a consideration of an interlocal cooperation agreement between City of Starkville, Oktibbeha County, Mississippi, relating to funding and revenues associated with the North Star Industrial Park projects. Discussion. Anyone?
Just for anybody who's not aware, this formalizes the agreement that was made between the city and the county that we would share equally in the debt and share equally in the payments that we received as fee in lieu of taxes.
As a part of this same,
Yes.
the
Yes.
item, the resolution we just passed. So,
Yes.
any further discussion?
This is an equal percentage share.
Yes.
50-50. All right, seeing no further discussion, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Okay, by a vote of 6-1, motion carries. All right, the next resolution is the authorizing the use of existing proceeds from the sale of the general obligation bonds issued in 2017 for the purpose of funding the acquisition and development of North Star Industrial Park. There are remaining bond funds there, which we are now proposing to use for a pad and for a spec building.
Move approval, Mayor.
Motion for approval from Alderman Little. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Alderman Beatty. All right, further discussion. All right, hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
All right, by a vote of 6-1, motion carries. All right, next item is, I'm sorry, the bill grant. I apologize, I wrote it down and then didn't pay any attention to what I was doing. The bill grant that I, again, apologize for putting at your table at the last minute. I know the Vice Mayor is upset with me for doing that, but
No.
I do it at my own peril, but
No,
I felt
you're
like it was
fine.
necessary, so.
You're fine, Mayor.
Thank you, sir.
You're fine.
Anyway, this is the consultant, and Mr. Kemp is probably the best one to speak to this because he is going to be our project manager. He will be interacting with the consultant or with the project engineer and with the project manager for this. So if there are questions of anyone about this, this is the request to approve Kimley Horn as the preferred consultant of the bill grant professional engineering services and authorization for the mayor to negotiate and execute an engineering consultant contract in accordance with Mississippi procurement procedures, LPA guidelines as outlined by the Mississippi Department of Transportation. And I see Alderman Walker's hand.
Thank you. Mr. Kemp, just a couple of questions for you. Reading through the packet that's at the table, you are a part of the team that scored the applicants or the people that we're considering for consultants. And you feel that the quality of what was represented from the committee and the questions asked and the way that the interviews were conducted and the materials of the interview were sufficient to lead the committee in making the proposal that they brought forward tonight?
I do.
Do you feel that the timeline that this is going to be on, where it's going to be and to have to follow strict guidelines through MDOT, that the top two or the top that any of these clearly, I'm assuming that was one of the criteria that was allowed to see who was going to be able to sufficiently and in a timely fashion meet the scope of the work in a time frame that would be conducive with the grant proposal and MDOT schedule?
Yeah, all the proposals included a schedule, and that was one of the things that offered some differentiation between the two. The first two that are on your score sheet met the time allotment as far as the obligation deadline that we have for the highway.
Thank you, sir.
And let me add something to that, because one of the things that we learned when and I say we, I wasn't the one who met, but when Mr. Kemp met with Federal Highway and with MDOT, was that they did not accept the timeline that was in the original build grant proposal of like 2026. They said it had to be severely, and I say severely because a couple of years to me is a pretty truncated timeline, so they changed that timeline. And that was one of the things that we were very focused on, because being able to meet that shorter timeline was critical to the success of this project, I think. Would you agree with that?
That's correct. And the big milestone that we have to meet from a design standpoint is everything has to be obligated. And obligated means the project has to be fully designed, approved, and accepted by MDOT. All the necessary right-of-way permits and other things have been acquired by September 2021. Which seems like a long way away, but really and truly, it's just like a couple of weeks away when you start really kind of getting into it. So it'll be an incredibly fast track, incredibly aggressive schedule, but I do think it's feasible. But we'll have to work really, really hard to meet that deadline.
All right. Alderman Vaughn.
Yeah, I got a couple questions. What was the qualification for all of them, short version of it, the qualification for all of them for them to qualify?
Yes, sir. We had a proposal, a legal notice that was actually a boilerplate that was put together by MDOT. It meets all of their requirements from federal and state. From a proposal selection process, they have a 30-page consultant selection guidelines, if you will. And the legal notice met all their requirements. We took their boilerplate. We inputted a few things like the project name, the project location, but for the most part, this is MDOT standard legal notice. They approved it before we advertised it. We had to advertise it in a statewide newspaper. But one of the things these are some of the requirements and I'm glad you asked that question. The consultant, there's specific things that the consultant or the consultant team has to have. Their project manager has to be a licensed professional engineer in the state of Mississippi and is authorized to practice engineering. Their firm has to be licensed. The individual as a project manager has to be certified by MDOT. There's a certification process. MDOT and Federal Highway had a DBE goal of 5% for this project, which is a disadvantaged business enterprise. Those are minorities or women-owned businesses. It was a requirement that at least the project team included 5% of the work or the scope be included into a DBE firm. Some of the other things that we looked at is the timeline was very important. The project scope, did they understand what we were trying to do, what the goal was on 182? And also something that was very, very important is a summary of 3 similar type projects that this firm or this project manager has managed in the last 10 years that are similar in scope and complexity of this project. So we looked at all of those things. The 5 primary criteria that we looked at were qualifications of the project manager, qualifications of the team staff, experience of the consultants with similar work in the last 5 years, the technical approach to the services listed in the RFP, and then the last, which is also the smallest point value, is proximity to the project. The maximum allowable amount that MDOT will allow for the proximity is 10%. So it was 10 out of the 100. So that is kind of in a nutshell what you saw. We had some very, very good proposals. You can see we have a copy of these on file if you'd like to look through them. But they are very well put together. They spent a lot of time. I think that it was a difficult decision. I mean, we had some really, really outstanding applications. So I think all in all, it was I guess a good problem to have. That we had
What really brought my concern, because Farmers and Margaret, if I'm not mistaken, they started this here process with the title grant. Matter of fact, I think they implemented it. I mean, they applied with 3 different applications, I think, and that's what brought my concern, because Farmers and Margaret, they were pushed out, and that's what really brought my concern, because I know who started this here, and I know $12.6 million is a lot of money that we got to manage. That's why I told you from the start, I told both from the start, we don't need a whole lot of committees trying to watch this, and then we don't need the engineers to eat all this up. And so this what really brought my concern, because this is one that really applied for these 3 applications, and they not getting none of the pie, and that's what really made me concerned.
Well, and absolutely, Alderman Vaughn, because if you recall back, well, I don't know that you were on the board at the time. We actually applied for a Tiger grant back when I was the Chief Administrative Officer. And the MSU, a couple of people out of MSU went through that process. So we have been working to do much the same thing for a very long time. And Farmer Morgan put in a lot of work to bring us here. And so I was disappointed that their RFP did not rise to the top. But given the fact that it's actually not just $12.6 million, it's $15 million, because 3 of it's coming from the city. So the qualifications and the prior experience was critical in making the determination, as was the disadvantaged business enterprise element to it. So it was not, they were not pushed out lightly. This is not pushing them out. This was a selection process that I think was deliberative and was considering of the effort that they made in bringing us to the table.
Another question, who is our local agencies that help you with this?
The selection committee was myself, Mr. Burnett in the engineering office, the mayor, Terry Kemp with the utilities, and then Chris Latimer participated in all the meetings as well.
But didn't vote.
He didn't vote. He sat in on it.
But he sat in. And the reason why that was cross-section is because there is a large component of this project that is going with the utility lines in the ground. And so that was the thought of having some utility representation along with engineering side as well.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yes, sir. Anyone else? Alderman Little.
Looks like we've got a 4.5 point variance between Kimley Horn and Neil Schaefer. And with the scope and scale, I think Neil Schaefer is just as capable, as, in my opinion, as Kimley Horn. And they've got brick and mortar, they've got investment in the town. I feel like they're watching, they will be here daily watching the project and wanting to this scale, size, and scope. Personally, I'm leaning toward Kimley Horn, and that's my opinion. I'm rather, not Kimley Horn, Neil Schaefer, just for their local presence and investment in the community. So.
Alderman Sistrunk.
And if you could clarify for me, their points include a bump for proximity, and they fell short even with that 30-something point bump for proximity. So I think what that tells me is all things being equal, Kimley Horn really was significantly a better proposal than Neil Schaefer.
Well, let me clear, it was only 10 points
10
for
points.
proximity.
Okay.
And so they
I thought you said 10%.
No,
10
I'm sorry,
points.
it was 10 points for
They
proximity.
got 10 points for that.
Yeah,
You do get an advantage.
Yeah, that was the,
Mayor, I don't know where it's going to go. If I can be recognized, I'm going to
Yes, sir.
make a motion that move approval of Neil Schaefer as a preferred consultant to provide the Bill Grant Professional Engineering Services and authorization for the mayor to negotiate and execute an engineering consultant contract in accordance with the Mississippi procurement procedures and the local public agencies guidelines as outlined by the Mississippi and by MDOT.
Okay, all right. I have a motion from Alderman Little. Do I have a second?
Second.
And a second from Alderman Vaughn. All right, further discussion.
Mayor, may we recognize?
Vice Mayor?
Yeah, Mr. Kemp, I don't have any objection to the pending motion at hand tonight, and I agree with the gentleman from 3, but I do want to get one thing on the record. I just want to make sure that the motion, even though the Neil Schaefer is not the highest score on the tabulation sheet, does this motion blend in with the criteria for him to be escalated to the top? I have not seen any of this, as a non-committee member. So, in other words, I know we as the governing body have the final authority, but are we in accordance with all the applicable criteria under the guidelines? I'm just trying to make sure everything is fleshed out real smoothly. So you don't see any improper or any incorrect deviation from any criteria you have espoused to select a person based upon your criteria. So in other words, are we in accordance with your established criteria for this motion?
I think the question, I understand, I think I understand your question, Vice Mayor, is basically the board going with a different selection, preferred candidate over this in accordance with MDOT's standard consultant selection procedures. And I don't know the answer to that, but I could find out the answer to that.
But and I don't want to delay it, but I'm comfortable with the gentleman. I just thought you, not putting you on the spot, I thought you probably could rarely do that. But I would think that we've done things over the years to show viability to local entities. So this is consistent. I just thought that maybe something else you can add. I'm satisfied given the ways and means that we have done this over the time that I've been here. So yeah, that's a good motion that the gentleman from 3 is making. Neil Schaefer has a very proven record, very credible, very established, very great reputation. So without any doubt, I'm very comfortable that they are just trying to get everything we can in the record. So, but the record is good enough right now to support what we're doing. It's just a friendly question, gentlemen. Great job. And Mr. Attorney, thanks for the clarification on the record. You're a non-voting member. I'm just want to thank you, colleague. I appreciate that. May I yield?
Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Mayor, might be recognized.
Well,
It's germane to Vice Mayor Perkins' question.
Okay.
Mr. Kemp, let me ask it another way. Did Neil Schaefer meet the specs of the grant?
And what I was going to say is you can see by the closeness of the numbering that we were all very impressed with both parties. So I think that just the very proximity of the scoring would give you that idea. Alderman Vaughn, I see your hand.
Mr. City Engineer, last question. Are you well pleased with the selection that you all selected? I can't say we selected.
Yes, sir. I think that like I said, I think we have some really good proposals. They were very different. If you go back and read them, they really kind of had completely different approaches. I think that Neil Schaefer is local. I think that they have an office here. They had one of the things that they highlighted in their proposal is their Jackson office did a Tiger project, or I guess it's similar to a building project now in the Jackson office, kind of handled that. I think one of the things that the committee talked about in one of the things that gave Kimley a little bit of an advantage is that the gentleman that is proposed as their project manager has managed or been a part of 2 build or Tiger projects in Birmingham, or one in Birmingham, one in Mobile, I believe. So just the technical experience with that project gave that project manager a little bit of an advantage. But again, if you look at that was one of the 5 criteria, and not to say that the project for Neil Schaefer couldn't do the work necessarily, just from an experience standpoint, he had a little bit more applicable experience to this project. But I will say that all the parties that did their scoring independently, and those were all tallied up, which you have a copy of. And the committee kind of conferred today after everything was tallied up, and everybody was in unanimous agreement of the recommendation.
Anything further, Alderman Vaughn?
I mean, I yield, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Alderman Walker?
We got one more for you. You touched on it a little bit. And so you talked about the experience of being, and again, I think every firm that is interviewed is a quality, capable firm of doing good work with really good reputation. There is Neil Schaefer has an office here, there's one in Columbus, but a lot of this work may be done in one of those offices or it may not. So you said there were two sort of differing approaches to this. Can you explain a little bit about why? Is there a reason why Kimley Horn came to the top outside of more experience in the project management?
I would say that's a hard question to ask because it's probably would be a different answer for every person that you ask that's on the committee. So I'll do my best to summarize it, although
You can just give me yours. What separated it from yours? You don't have to speak for the other three.
I think one thing that Neil Schaefer did really well in their proposal is they went through the original build grant application narrative cost estimates schedule. And they highlighted and identified deficiencies in that. Things that were not practical, things that wouldn't work, issues that they saw from a maintenance standpoint, things that were not going to necessarily be widely accepted by MDOT, for example, since it's their right away. That was a good portion, and they spent a lot of time with that. But I think that was beneficial information. I think Kimley spent more time talking about kind of some of the other projects that they worked on in a very similar approach. The complete streets approach that they've done with one of the main projects that they talked about was the Atlanta Beltline. It was a very similar project to 182 in Atlanta. And this particular project manager had managed that, and he just talked about his approach when it came to complete streets, and that really the first thing that he looks at is context. He's a transportation engineer by trade, so I think maybe thinking about it more as a blank slate about 182. I would say that was my very rough, off-the-cuff synopsis of kind of the different approaches.
So I don't want to put words in your mouth. Again, I think both firms are definitely capable of doing the engineering. It sounds like that one proposal was clearly more looking at the engineering, and one was looking about more what does that corridor become as a more than just where the curb is going to be. Not to downplay that, but it sounds like one was more of a design proposal and one was an engineering proposal. That's what I'm hearing when I hear you try to be very careful in how you're parsing your words, because both of these firms are very capable of doing the engineering work. And so, I don't know where I am. I think it's always important to think about people that have local ties, and Neil Schaefer does good work, and we hire them the city hires them to do a lot of work. This group as a committee that scored all the proposals had a different choice, and it is certainly the board's right to go whichever direction that we want. But I would feel, I personally feel a lot more comfortable going in another direction if I personally invested and read those proposals and I know what decision I'm making. So I'm probably not going to vote for Neil Schaefer. I do believe that Neil Schaefer is a quality firm and they will do a quality job. But that's just where I am because I haven't reviewed the proposals, and I would be I'm banking on the recommendation of the people that actually went through the proposals and looked at the work, and I'm gonna take that into account in my decision making tonight.
Okay, thank you. All right, I saw Alderman Littleton and then Alderman
I
Sistrum.
appreciate the work the committee put into it as well.
We're not gonna take this
I think this is
personally.
I think it's a great, I mean, to me, when you come out 4.5 points difference, it's a coin toss. I think either one can do it and would do a fine job for us, and we'd be pleased with it. I think this is a good work session item. It's been good to see kind of behind the scenes versus getting it a couple hours before the meeting, and I think that's why we're here, where we're at, as opposed to talking about this in a work session.
No, and I appreciate that, and were we not so time sensitive in terms of meeting all these deadlines, we wouldn't be here doing it this way, but it's just,
I understand.
So, anyway, that's-
And I'm not gonna lose any sleep either way, because I think either one are capable. If it gets voted down, it gets voted down, and, you know, and we'll go back and go again.
okay, Alderman Sistrum.
And this is going to be a $15 to $16 million project that's going to have a huge impact on what Highway 182 looks like. And while that is not in my ward, if it were in my ward, I would be very concerned about more than just an engineering project where the curbs wound up in the right place and this, that, and the other. I do think some days you step out and do more than that minimum amount. And so I'm, along with Alderman Walker, I'm concerned that we're selling ourselves short by not considering the design components and opportunities that are part of this project. I also think that, as he said, either of those are going to give us a very fine engineering product, and that's going to be fine. But to me, this is bigger than an engineering project. And I understand that it's time sensitive, but it is a $15 to $16 million project, and I would rather take another week or two. We could have a special call meeting if we needed to, and let us digest this, look at some of the things that were presented to you, and get it right on the front end, because we all know how hard it is to get it right once you've started down a path that's not where you want to be.
Okay, so as it stands right now, I have a motion and a second.
Mayor?
I'm sorry, Alderman Vaughn?
What is the timeline?
Well, last month. It's just one of those things that, as Edward has said, as Mr. Kemp has said, it is a very complex project that needs to move along as best we can. I certainly don't disagree with anything Alderman Sistrum, Walker, anyone has said. We just don't want to delay, and if there is an opportunity, if everyone is comfortable, then pushing forward. If not, then we can certainly have a special call work session to talk about this. We can get you all of the RFPs so that y'all can all go over them yourselves and see what you want to see. But anyway, yes, sir.
Let's make a motion to table this and then.
Well, I've got a motion I've got a motion. Do you want to withdraw your
I don't have a
motion?
problem withdrawing my
Okay.
motion, and
You're okay.
would it be better
Alderman
not to
Little is-
table it and just add it back to the agenda the next round, or?
Can we have time? Do we have time for that?
Well, we certainly have time. We just want to
Chris, I was
move
asking-
forward with all
Just table it,
deliberate
that's what
speed,
it
shall we
Week
say?
and a half,
What's
you
that?
know, isn't dispositive, I would think.
Until it
Okay.
moves into something else. All right, Alderman Little has withdrawn his motion, Alderman Vaughn his second, so do I have another motion?
Make a motion to table, Mayor, to the next board meeting.
All right, I have a motion
Go
for,
that long, we can have a work session on before the next board meeting, however you want to do it.
Okay.
Whatever you think best for us to do.
all right, I have a motion from Alderman Vaughn to table it. Mr. Kemp, any thoughts on, our next meeting is going to be the 3rd of March, so we're into another month. Anyone adverse to having a special call, if we can get y'all all the information in between now and then? Everybody going to be in town?
Mayor, may I be recognized?
Yeah, Vice Mayor.
Yeah, after listening to all my colleagues, certainly Mr. Kemp, let me just say, Neil Schaefer, I stand on those comments, but the other colleagues make some very valid points as well. This is a $16 million question. So, Mayor, if we can just check with all this, because I would like to try to make sure I'm not in court to be here for this $16 million question.
Okay.
And I'm convinced the gentleman from 7 is his ward as well. Great points made. $16 million question. I support the motion from the gentleman from 7. Let's get it right. no disrespect to Neil Schaefer, y'all done a great job. And Mayor, just notify me when you get ready, before you said it.
Okay. I have a motion to table, Alderman Vaughn, can we do table until a potential special call or the next board meeting?
Yes, ma'am. Whatever-
All right, we'll
whatever.
do it that way. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second from Alderman Little. All right.
Mayor,
Yes,
the gentleman from Ward 7 has reminded me that a good bit of this is going to be in my ward also.
It is.
So I need to speak up about this. But in my former life, the municipality that I was part of used Neil Schaefer a lot, and they're fine engineers. And I think we need to take a further look. Where's the group from the Kimley? Where are they?
Horn.
Kimley Horn. Where are they?
They are doing a project for us right now with the parks. They are out of Memphis, and where else, Edward? Birmingham.
And you said they did that, designed or did that Atlanta belt, that loop?
The Anna Birmingham segment. Alderman Vaughn, can we revisit your motion for a moment? Can we narrow it down to Kimley Horn and Neil Schaefer?
Yes. I think.
Is that satisfactory for you, for us to narrow that down?
Whatever the rest of the board is good with.
Well, I just need your motion. I need you to be happy with your motion. Okay, to table until either a special call or the next board meeting and narrow it to the top two? All right, thank you. And the second, is that good with you, Alderman Little?
It is.
Okay, all right. I have a motion and a second. Further discussion. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you all. And we will research dates and times that will work for everyone for this, and we will get the RFPs, the proposals out. We have them both in electronic format. All right, thank you very much. All right. All right, under planning, we have a special event request for the Touch a Truck event.
Move approval.
Second.
I have a motion from Alderman Sistrunk, a second from Alderman Little. Further discussion. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
All right, by a vote of 5-2, motion carries. And then we have the claims docket. Do I have a
Second.
motion from Alderman Walker and a second from Alderman Little. Further discussion. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
All right, vote of 5-2, motion carries. And rolling into the home stretch, gentlemen and ladies.
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
may I recognize?
Yes, you may.
I'm not going to talk about the tractors. I'm gonna go let's get them up before I talk about them. Let's roll
All
on
right,
the vote.
all right, I'm moving. I'm moving. All right, consideration to authorize a replacement. It is a replacement tractor. I heard a motion for approval from, I believe, Alderman Walker. Do I have a second? Second from Alderman Little. Further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
All right, vote of 6-1, I believe it was, motion carries. And then we have this is declaring two mowers, one Sand Pro, one other tractor, one general refrigerator, one freezer, and playground equipment as surplus and sell to the highest bidder. You need to
Move approval.
have a motion from Alderman Little on that one. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Alderman Walker. Further discussion. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Oh, you don't want to declare surplus, Vice Mayor? Okay.
Nay.
By a
Nay.
vote of, got it, I'm sorry, 6-1, thank you. Motion carries. All right, that concludes our agenda items. I have one item to read, which is our calling for the work session. In accordance with the notices required under Mississippi Code Section 254113, the board will be having a work session on the 28th of February 2020 at 10 a.m. Meeting will be held at City Hall in the second floor conference room located at 110 West Main Street. Public and media are invited to attend. Notice should be provided of this work session within 1 hour of this meeting by posting such notice at City Hall. Notice should be made a part of the minutes, and the work session will be open and public meeting. The City of Starkville public and press are invited to attend. Do I have a motion to, in this case, adjourn?
So moved.
A motion from Alderman Little. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Alderman Sistrunk. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we are in adjournment. Thank you, everyone. We appreciate your
Yes, sir.
good work.
Yes, sir.